This is a little chart I made up of the year 2020, which we're in. And actually, in metaphysics, 2020 is the awakening. And if you looked at a tarot card, the number 20, it shows people rising out of a coffin and the archangel Gabriel blowing his horn. And it means that there's awakening of new consciousness and new things happening. And it's a period where people have to look unto themselves. The year basically is controlled by the planet Uranus, and it affects the world, but also August or Leo people and people with a D, M, or V initial. Sometimes a letter like V will also be in the name, or a D, because not everybody has those letters. And people born on the 4th, 13th, 22nd, and 31st especially. But 2020 is also the life path of 40, which is the George Washington numbers. And I was saying that Donald Trump has the 40 life paths himself. But the four at the bottom of the apex, as I explained on my video with the apex, is really what the year is about. But it's also a period of Uranus opposition. And the four equal, of course, a D, which could be Donald Trump. I don't want to give anybody any great clues. But when you look at the cycle itself, when the cycle goes 20, it starts off with the awakening, which I said it's patience and planning things for the future. And the 22 is has to do with mistakes and problems that people make. It's also the Uranus number, and it kind of causes a lot of difficulties. And from the apex of the year, which is the end of June, is when there's opposition, and that's when the Uranus really hits and affecting DMV 413, 22nd, or 31st of any month if that somebody's born in. Now, from September through December, that's the period of what we call July or Cancer people, and it's a moon birthday, and whose primarily benefits from that is people with a BKT initial, people born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th of any month. And Biden's birthday is, I believe, the 20th, which to me is interesting. It goes along with my theory about the election as well, which I put on a video about 2020. So it's also, the 22 is also about mistakes and problems, and it's too late for people to realize it. And it also has to do with foreign influences. As an example, a great example would that be the coronavirus and mistakes. And between March and June, there's a lot of questions of association. The 42 always brings that question. And mistakes and problems, and it would also affect Taurus people a lot, and people born on the October or Libra people, and people born on the 6th, 15th, or 24th day of any month. But it's interesting that you have this oppositional cycle, and the year has the birthplace of George Washington, which is the birthplace also of Donald Trump. Now, when you talk about September through December, it affects, it's a moon period, which affects, like I said, BKT initials. Sometimes the B or K could be in the name too. And it really favors Biden at this point. And with Trump, it would have to do with mistakes, problems, foreign things, foreign influences, etc. Now, when you talk about the 2021 cycle, the apex, which is the end of June, is really about Mercury. It affects June or Gemini people, September or Virgo people, people born on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd of any month, people with an EN or W initial, and sometimes a letter like W could just be in the name. And sometimes it's hidden like Bill or William or Williams or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of change. The late June of 2021 is going to be an extreme amount of change, and the 2021 the 21 is has to do with humanitarian things, which I put down here, and the apex is about Mercury. A lot of changing hitting at the late June of 2021. 2021 has a lot to do with planes, overcoming problems, and it also has to do with anything to do with travel, and it's an interesting period. But the 21 has to do with humanity. So sometime around September through December, there's going to be questions about helping people. And I theorize that a lot of times this coronavirus could be starting in like third world countries, Africa, East India, places like that, Haiti, anything like that. There will be a large humanitarian effort to fix things. But 2021 is a success after a struggle, and it's a 41-5 path, which means people will be doing a lot of things behind the scenes to improve things for the world and for people. So it's an interesting period, this transition between 2020 and 2021. And I already told you what I think about the election. If you see some of my videos on the cycles and the election, but it's interesting that the September through December really favors Biden. I didn't really look at that until today when I noticed that he was born on the 20th, so it is what it is.